What makes one captain totally unforgettable, while another just completely fails, even when they're handed the exact same roster of talented players? Seriously, is leadership really about power, or is it about influence? Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to decode the architecture of athletic leadership. Keep that question about power versus influence right at the front of your mind. We've all been there, right? Sitting on the edge of our seats during a championship game. The clock is ticking down, the stadium is absolutely roaring, and the tension is so thick you could literally cut it with a knife. And you just have to wonder, what's the secret sauce holding that winning team together under all that unimaginable pressure? Well, today, we're breaking down the anatomy of athletic leadership. We're looking at the psychological blueprints of those rare individuals who manage to guide us to victory when everything is on the line. Let's get right into it with Section 1. Power versus influence. To really understand this, we have to strip away a massive misconception in the sports world. It's the difference between simply wearing the captain's armband and actually earning the team's absolute loyalty. At its core, leadership is the ability to inspire, influence, motivate, and guide people toward a common goal. It isn't about just barking instructions from the sidelines or, pointing fingers when a play completely falls apart. No, it's a highly active, dynamic process of building unshakable trust. You have to show the way by setting a responsible example. Think of that one captain who grinds the hardest during a brutal practice, or the one who steps right in front of the cameras to take all the blame for a crushing loss, but then turns around and gives the team all the credit for a spectacular win. That is what creates an environment where every single player is working together. Because, guys, there's a massive fundamental divide between authority and leadership. Authority, that's handed to you. It comes with a fancy title, an official position, or that literal letter C stitched onto your jersey. Leadership, on the other hand, is something you have to earn every single day. You earn it through your integrity, your consistency, and your competence. A coach can give you the authority of a captain, sure, but true leadership depends entirely on how you inspire and unite the people around you through your daily actions. Authority commands obedience, but leadership commands respect. That brings us to Section 2, 3 styles of leadership. So how do they actually translate that respect into victory on the field? Well, a really great captain doesn't just play one single note. They adapt. They utilize 3 major psychological playbooks, and they're constantly shifting based on what's unfolding in the game. First up is autocratic leadership. This is all about making decisions entirely independently. Picture a ticking clock in the final quarter. The field is total chaos, the crowd is deafening, and even a split second of hesitation means you lose. This is absolutely not the time for a polite team vote. A captain has to step up, take total control, and make the immediate unilateral call. In an emergency, this style is crucial for survival. But, leadership has to shift when the environment shifts. Enter democratic leadership. This style actively encourages team participation in decision-making. Think about the locker room at halftime. The team is physically drained, morale is dipping, and you're down by a few points. In this moment, an autocratic dictator is just going to breed resentment and shut down all communication. Instead, a democratic approach is your best bet. The captain brings the players around the strategy board, asks them what they're seeing out there, and they adjust the game plan together. It builds collective trust and promotes shared responsibility, so every single player feels ownership over the comeback. And the third style? That's laissez-faire leadership. This is all about giving your experienced athletes greater freedom to make their own decisions. Honestly, sometimes the absolute smartest move a captain can make is to just step back. If you've got veteran superstars on your roster, players who have survived 1,000 high-pressure situations, you let them call the play. It perfectly leverages a mature, highly skilled team. Because if you try to micromanage experts, you're just going to frustrate them. But if you trust them and give them space, they soar. Now, let's move on to Section 3, the captain's toolkit. Knowing those 3 leadership styles is one thing, but having the internal qualities to actually execute them, that's the real challenge. A captain's psychological makeup requires this delicate yet incredibly powerful balance of 4 key traits. We're talking deep empathy for your teammates, unyielding discipline and training, extreme resilience when facing defeat, and, honestly, this might be the most important one, emotional intelligence. You need all 4 of these traits spinning in perfect harmony if you're going to effectively lead a team through the grueling highs and lows of a competitive season. Let's actually zoom in on emotional intelligence for a second. This is that acute ability to recognize emotions, manage stress, and maintain absolute stability under insane pressure. Managing your own racing heartbeat while simultaneously recognizing the fears or anxieties of your teammates is exactly what separates the good from the truly great. Seriously, if the captain panics, the whole team panics. But if the captain is a rock amidst the storm, the team becomes an impenetrable fortress. You have to add an essential communication toolkit to that emotional intelligence. And I'm not just talking about being the loudest voice in the room. I mean active listening, giving constructive feedback right in the heat of the moment, clarifying individual roles so nobody is confused about their job, and quickly squashing misunderstandings before they fester. When a great captain pulls the team into a tight huddle, they aren't just shouting motivational cliches. They're actively listening and adjusting assignments to build this unbreakable web of trust. So the real kicker here is that successful captains drive performance not by pointing at the shiny championship trophy or a massive paycheck. Instead, they tap into intrinsic motivation. They emphasize the learning, the teamwork, and just the sheer joy of the sport itself over external rewards like fame or money. They ignite a genuine love for the game and this burning desire for personal improvement. And that intrinsic drive, it will always outlast the temporary high of a cash bonus. This brings us to Section 4, Inspiring the Extraordinary. Mastering these tools elevates a captain into something incredibly rare, the pinnacle of athletic influence, which we call transformational leadership. Transformational leaders do so much more than just win games. They inspire their athletes through a shared vision. They're literally in the business of forging better humans rather than just barking orders. Instead of just directing traffic out on the field, they look way beyond the current match or even the current season. They push their athletes to become better, stronger, and more resilient versions of themselves, both on and off the pitch. And how exactly do they pull that off? Well, it's a powerful, continuous four-step process. First, they actively recognize individual strengths. They figure out exactly what makes each person unique. Second, they fiercely encourage personal growth, pushing players past what they think are their limits. Third, they make absolutely sure to value every single player. The bench warmer gets the exact same respect as the star striker. And finally, all of this naturally promotes long-term team cohesion. By following these steps, they create an environment of enduring success and this incredible team unity that lasts for years. Now let's wrap this up with Section 5, Leadership in Everyday Life. This brilliantly illustrates why these lessons don't just stay locked away in a sports stadium. The psychological principles that guide a championship team are totally universal. We see them utilized every single day by ordinary leaders, parents, teachers, managers, entrepreneurs, doctors, military officers, you name it. Whether you're a parent guiding your family through a tough transition or a doctor managing a frantic hospital wing, you are using the exact same principles of empathy, motivation, and trust to guide your people toward a common objective. It all really boils down to this one core philosophy. Success is achieved not by controlling people, but by empowering them to reach their full potential. Modern leadership, whether it's in sports or just everyday life, is all about empowering others rather than micromanaging them. Time and time again, it proves that genuine influence built on trust and respect is infinitely more effective than mere authority. So, what's the ultimate takeaway I want you to have from this explainer? It's this. Leadership is a developed skill. It's rooted in integrity, empathy, responsibility, and continuous learning. It is definitely not some magical, mythical talent that a lucky few are just born with. It is an active, deliberate, and continuous practice of ethical behavior and dedicated service to the people around you. Great captains, whether they're commanding a team on a muddy pitch or leading a department in a corporate office, don't simply drag people to the finish line. When you apply these principles, any of us can inspire the ordinary individuals in our lives to step up and achieve truly extraordinary results together. If you enjoyed this explainer, make sure to subscribe to Beautiful Mind. In our next explainer, we'll discover why some teams stay united through every single challenge, while others completely fall apart, as we explore the psychology of team cohesion and communication. See you then.